Greetings, and welcome to Channel Other Doc. I'm Jim, I use he, him pronouns, and today we are beginning a short campaign of Dungeon World, a fantasy game with echoes of D&D, but that's powered by the apocalypse. We're going to be using the 20 dungeon starters, and the one we've chosen to start with is City of Pillars. And so this is going to be kind of a using the make it up as you go method as we're doing this, and I'm very excited to see how this goes. But let us start by going around and introducing everyone. Just tell us who you are and who you're playing and all that. I shall start with Brian. Hello.
Hi, I'm Brian Cooksey. I'm playing Kestrel the Thief, and I am I'm a game designer, game editor. I've one of the hosts of the Armor Goes Clank podcast, and really happy to be here playing with you guys.
Yay! Me too. And let us move on to Anino. Hello.
Hi, I'm Anino. You might have remembered me from such hits as Emerald Twilight or Emerald Secrets. Yeah, from last week.
30 Secrets, Emerald
30 Secrets.
Tempest? Was that what it... Emerald Tempest, yes, that's what it was.
Yeah. It's so memorable.
I know, right?
That I remembered
it. Was such a great campaign, and I can't even remember it. It seemed like it had been such a short time since I'd seen you, and that apparently is why.
I know, right? So, I will be playing a bard by the name of Nevermind.
Awesome.
That's it. That's all I got.
No worries. And let us move on to Alyssa.
Hi, I'm Alyssa, she, her, also known as Origami Shuriken. I'm playing the Dwarven Cleric, Druzy.
Yay. And Opal.
I am Opal Dragon 98 on Discord. I will be playing Rorik, an Elven Ranger.
Excellent. And finally, Dragon.
Hi, I'm Son of a Dragon, he, him pronouns. You can find me at Son of a Dragon on Twitch and Twitter. And I'm going to be playing Candlefang, the Emulator.
Excellent. Cool. Now, one thing I'm just going to mention here before we get into it, like we do with most games on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. If we hit something that's crossing a line for you, any of the players can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or make an X symbol, and we'll back up and do something else. If something happens that you're okay having in the game, but you don't want a graphic description of it, type an N in the Zoom chat and we'll fade to black on it or put it behind a veil. So it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if you're in the midst of intense role-playing and you think we might be worried you're really upset out of character, you can put an O in the chat to let us know you're okay and that we're good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we say or do something and then think, maybe it might be a little bit too much. And then everyone else can respond to that and just let us know if we're still doing okay. But now, we shall get to this and see what we are doing here. So, part of the whole making it up as you go method that I'm doing with this, I kind of initially sort of cut my teeth doing that on Lady Blackbird to an extent. I mean, I'd done it with D&D and stuff like that in the past, but the whole ask people questions as you go to figure it out was something that kind of tripped in my mind when I finally played that game, and then I was like, can I apply that to Dungeon World? Because Dungeon World says you should do things like that too, and as it turns out, it seems to work. So we're going to be continuing with in that vein, and so for this first for the first part of this, what we're going to be doing is putting together the starting scenario, putting together the situation and sort of the history, just kind of figure out what it is about and what the characters are about. And once we've got enough to get going, we'll be off to the races. So, I think what I want to do first, everyone has gotten their characters and they've got bonds, but I think before we tackle that, I want to go ahead and get a little more foundation for stuff going on. First off, we chose City of Pillars, and from what I can see about it, this is going to get slightly Harryhausen-ish. It's very much, it seems to take place in a desert environment. They have they sort of a list of impressions that can be thrown out at various times. I actually sort of like, because by and large I don't necessarily remember to use these during the whole thing, but I like to throw out some of these ahead of time just so that folks can get sort of an image of the kinds of things that one encounters when traveling along these places. Baking heat, more kinds of sand than you knew existed, powdery, crusted, gritty like the teeth of mice. The shadows of carrion birds wheeling slowly across the dunes. Thirst pursuing you like an implacable foe. A measured swig from a clay jug. An inviting shimmer in the near distance. Evening falling like a blessing of the gods. The desert wind whipping at tent flaps. A silver moon and rivers of stars shining in the blackness of an infinite night. A profusion of shattered pillars and stonework, half buried in drifts of sand, which is where we're ultimately going to be ending up. I'm pretty sure. Let me see here. So, yeah. So this is, and I'm going to ask you some questions soon, but before we get into that, let's learn a little bit more about what's been going on in the area. So, what I'm going to ask each of you to do, let me actually just look real quick here. All right, everything's back in the deck. Good. You should all be able to access this deck of the deck of cards, a deck of cards that I put up in Roll20. I'm going to ask each of you to draw a card. And we're going to use prompts from a game called In a Wicked Age. Before I tell you what your card means, I will ask you which oracle you want me to consult. We're going to choose from 3 of the oracles that game offers, and kind of go from there. So the 3 oracles, and I should probably type this up so where you folks can see it, what your choices are. So your choices are God Kings of War. Type War. There you go, Jim. You know how to type. The Unquiet Past. And a Nest of Vipers. Those are your 3 choices for how I'm going to interpret these cards. And I need to turn off the grid. Already, it's starting to annoy me. Grid off. Yay! Okay, there we go.
A downside to using theater of the mind.
Oh, yeah. Do you all have cards? Does anyone not have a card? Let me put it that way.
I don't. I can't figure out how to get to the cards.
Okay, can you see the cards on the Roll20 just area? There should be blue backed deck. Okay, let me make sure. I think 3 of you already have cards, it looks like. So let me...
You can also find the playing cards in the macros sheet.
Let me make sure.
Which is the 3 lines and 3 dots.
Found that. Oh, okay. Got it now.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I was just on the wrong view. Okay, on it. Thanks.
Right. No worries. All right. So I know the grid. So who wants to go first?
I can go first.
All right.
All
right.
I want the Nest of Vipers.
You want the Nest of Vipers?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and show me your card so you can drag it out.
How do I do that?
So you click on the card just above your name down there, and then drag it out anywhere onto the.
Drag it
table.
out.
Oh.
You have the King of Spades, and under a Nest of Vipers, he says. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. I will switch to the selection tool. That is a village executioner practicing his trade on a caught burglar.
That's who I am?
No, that's just a.
Oh.
That is.
Because I'm down for it.
Yeah, you can be if you want, but that's just someone who's in play here.
Oh, okay.
And so that can be a PC or it can be an NPC. It doesn't matter.
Right.
But that's just one of the elements we're playing with.
Oh,
It can
this
mean
situation.
it can mean whatever we want it to mean.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you're not locked into that.
Okay.
But if it's what you want, you can be. So you got the King of Spades. Good. And so who wants to go next?
Sorry, where did you write down the options for that?
It should be visible. I just wrote it on the sort of the tabletop area, just in Roll20. But it's God, Kings of War, The Unquiet Past, and A Nest of Vipers. If you're looking at it, it should be over here, if you can see that.
Yeah.
I will go next with the Unquiet Past.
Okay, let me see your card. You got the Eight of Spades. The Unquiet Past, Eight of Spades. A fearsome storm with thunder and drawing winds. Okay. Driving winds. I can't read. Here we go.
Welcome to the club. I can't see without my glasses.
A fearsome storm with thunder and driving winds. So that's a thing that may happen. And we're in the desert, which is going to be really awesome. Okay. Who's next?
I will go. I will consult the Unquiet Past.
All right. And you have Jack of Clubs. That is a small room under the foundation. Its doorway bricked shut, the prison of a dreadful and malicious spirit. Interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and paste that up here. I'm gonna leave that as 2 lines just for everybody. There we go. All right. And we've got Brian or Alyssa left. Who wants to go?
I can do it. Let me get over to the card. Okay. I'm gonna go for God, Kings of War.
All right. Let me see
Okay.
what you got there. You just click on it and then grab hold of the card and drag it out anywhere on
Aha.
it. Okay. 5 of clubs. Okay. And God, Kings of War, 5 of clubs. A soldier's plain short story. Yeah. Testing 1, 2, 3. The tip of the tongue, the roof of the mouth, the lips, and the teeth. A soldier's plain short sword, gradually developing a taste for the blood of women. Interesting. Okay. What I like to do with these is I like to actually let them be gendered in whatever direction we want to. So that can be whoever. For the blood of people. Because it can be, because also we have, I was going to say humans, but then again we also have non-human races, so the blood of those with intelligence. And finally, Alyssa,
Speciesists.
let me know what which one you
I will go with God, Kings of War, also.
All right.
Trying to drag this card out here. It doesn't seem to want to move.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, if you can see it in front of you, you should be able to just sort of click and hold and drag onto anywhere.
Yeah, it's not working.
Yeah, it took me 3 tries.
I can look in there if you want. That's fine. Probably. Shall I steal the card?
Sure.
Alright, I shall steal the card. I am stealing the card. Or attempting to steal the card. Stand by. Stealing. Theft complete. Okay, so that is 9 of clubs. And that is a demon god of blood and vengeance, forgotten since antiquity, recently awakened. Yay!
Lovely.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, they sound friendly.
Yeah.
I just happened to be reading an online comic about a demon god.
They're nice people. All right. So there we have it. Those were our prompts there. Let me just make sure I've not irrevocably damaged the deck here. No, we're good. Okay, good. I can throw that away there. All right. So, here we have it. A village executioner practicing his trade on a caught burglar. A fearsome storm with thunder and driving winds. A small room under the foundation. Its doorway bricked shut. The prison of a dreadful and malicious spirit. Soldiers playing short sword, gradually developing a taste for the blood of people. A demon god of blood and vengeance, forgotten since antiquity, recently awakened. So, that is in the lore here that we are putting together. Your characters can be connected to those or not, as you wish. So, let's find out a little bit more about your characters. And sort of with an eye toward looking at these, this is sort of somewhere in this environment, this is kind of that to which your characters are going to be connected. So I'm going to go around and ask folks to start talking a little bit. If you've determined some stuff about your characters, interesting things, then now is the time to talk about that a little bit. And then after you, so you can give, like, shall we say, slightly longer introductions to your characters if you have something. If you don't, then just say pass, and we'll keep going. And then after that, we'll look at these and start doing bonds. I think that'll probably get us going here. The thing in the back of my head. What was the thing in the back of my head? There is there's as far as stuff that we know locally is around, right? There is, yeah, well, this comes with the questions that I'm going to ask, but there is the desert, there is a city, and then there is an old ruined city, and those are the main sort of things we're looking at. So that's and I've got some names, but I'm going to bring those in with those questions first. So let's start. I'm going to go now reverse of the way that I did to start with. I'm going to start with Dragun. So yeah, tell us. Do you have any other tidbits about your character you would like to tell us?
I mean, yeah, I am a Candlefang. And I'm sure that voice is going to get tiresome real fast. But the one thing that I thought it would be, that just occurred to me that would be kind of neat, is that instead of their magical powers, like in this world, the salamander's magical powers, instead of being born with them, it is imbued via a ritual carving and inserting of like magical stones.
Ooh.
It's not something they're born with, but something that is added to them. And that is the one thing that I kind of want to add to the character right now. But yeah.
So is that tied, and that's tied to the, how you became an immolator, specifically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So there's some sort of ritual where they if I'm assuming I'm getting this right, I just want to make sure I heard this right.
Yeah.
There's sort of a stone was magically implanted into you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. I need to start writing things down. That will probably help. So there is obviously some ritual around this of some kind.
Yeah.
Part of this also is that I get to ask questions. Was there a? So is the group that did this, well, first of all, was this voluntary or was this involuntary on your part?
No, I think it's voluntary.
Okay.
Salamanders come from a caste society, and he comes from the warrior caste.
Okay. Cool. So this is done sort of within the castes. They will, as part of the warrior caste, they'll send folks out as immolators. You think?
Yeah, I'm thinking that it's some sort of rite of passage thing. right?
Excellent.
Like they send you out, and if you return alive, hey, welcome back, you're alive.
Nice. Very cool. Go ahead and tell us your character's look.
All right. So Candlefang has his body covered in ritual scars. The biggest scar that he's got is right around his shoulder, and that is where he draws the flames and the source of his power, basically. He's got searing eyes and a sizzling voice, with a calm rage as a demeanor. He's wearing robes, mostly drab, sand-colored robes. They're pretty plain, not really a lot of embroidery or anything, even a little bit worn.
Mm-hmm.
There's some holes here and there. He's like basically a lizard, a vagrant.
Excellent. Awesome. And what color scales?
They are brownish, a little bit more on the darker side.
Cool.
Not too bright colors.
Awesome. And I think the last thing I'll ask before moving on is: are these your clutch of salamanders? Are they more from around here? Are they like desert lizards, or are they from elsewhere?
They are desert lizards, but they are from ways away from the town that we are.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Like maybe on the other side somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. And so I think what we're gonna move on to. Let's move on to Opal. And so tell us a little bit about Rorik.
Rorik is an elven ranger who goes where the winds take him with his hawk Aja. So wherever he goes, she comes with him. Scroll here to his look. He has the lithe elven body that elves are known for. His eyes are very odd. They're animalistic and yellow like that of his hawk. His hair, he mainly wears a hood, but when he's not, is white and wild. And his clothes are camouflage, which changes with the environment.
Nice.
Since we are in a desert, he blends in with the sand and the rocks. You will hardly notice him until he moves.
Where does he hail from? What kind of place?
Lands unknown. Lands unknown.
Does he know?
He just wanders.
Has it been so? Has he been
knows,
wandering
he
so
just
long he doesn't
doesn't tell.
remember?
Yeah, he knows. He just
Okay.
doesn't feel like telling anyone.
Okay, that's cool.
Least of all, his creator.
That's fair. That's fair. These things happen. Were his eyes always like that, or was there a time when a thing happened that made it so?
It was a time when he bonded with his hawk.
What do you think led him to seek out a hawk in particular? Or did he? Or did the hawk seek him out?
Oh, with his elven tribe, the ranger and the companion seek each other out. So days at a time, the rangers would just go out and meditate in the forest and would bond with whatever animal approaches them first.
Hmm.
And for Rorik, it was a hawk who took on the name Aja.
Awesome. Now, is that something that's kind of like a rite of passage, like sort of with Candlefang's people, or is that something more of a personal thing where it's just like you decide?
It is the final test to become a ranger.
Ooh, nice. So it's going to be very important. I get this feeling that your people probably do not have many rangers among them. You may be it right now. So
In the past several hundred years, Rourke is the last.
Ooh, okay. A lot of responsibility there. No pressure, no pressure. Very good, excellent. This is going to be fascinating. Let us go ahead and move on to Alyssa. Tell us about Druzy.
All right. Druzy comes from a family of miners, and most likely in the mountains, so a long way from here. Mining being a rather dangerous occupation, the healers are good to have around. So, the clerics are very respected. She's got dark hair, like graying at the temples, short, solid, your classic dwarven physique, stocky but probably muscular, dark eyes, sturdy clothing built for getting around difficult terrain. Very practical.
Excellent. So, actually, I'm curious. Do you have any thoughts about your deity? Is it, or is it a specific deity? Is it more of a philosophy?
Probably more. I mean, obviously, there's the gods of the forge and of the elements. I would say Druzy's probably more ecumenical and probably dedicated more to the idea of just serving the community.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if I can
Sure.
close my curtains over here and get rid of some of that lens flare I'm getting.
Oh, I thought that was just your deity's radiant presence. I wasn't sure.
I mean, I thought it was in character. So
Yeah, I was like, this is really in character. If you want, I'll move on for a minute, and then I'll come back to you if you need.
Sure.
If you need a second, sure, no problem. So let us move on for now to Anino. Tell us a little bit about Nevermind.
Nevermind is a musician, traveling one, mysterious, defying all definition. He sorry, I keep laughing because
Sorry.
it's all this up.
I apologize.
He's got a thin body with a mocha complexion, knowing eyes, fancy curly hair, clothes of finery, a white ruffled shirt and a purple coat and matching pants. He's basically Prince. That's what I'm going for here, and I'm going to play him as such.
I cannot wait for this.
He sings of the planar spheres and preaches self-love.
That's wonderful.
His bardship is art, and that is all that should be said about it.
It's fair. Let me see here. What do I want to? Oh, does does he play? Does he play instruments of an instrument? Or?
He does. He plays a mandolin.
Excellent. And is he at this point in his career? Do you think he is well known, or is he just kind of getting started as far as people knowing him? What do you think?
I would say that his following is a bit cultish right now.
Okay. Cool. So it's like just folks, very, very sort of isolated pockets who are like get really, really excited. Yeah, that kind of deal.
Yes.
Yeah. And maybe at the various music festivals or what have you, it becomes more of a thing. Awesome. Let me see. What I was trying to think of something of any other more specific things I can. Oh yeah. So is is Nevermind from this region or from somewhere else, do you think?
He's from somewhere else. I'm going to say someplace a little bit more temperate.
Cool, excellent. Good, yes. Okay, so I'm just thinking, I just responded by saying cool, and the answer is no, temperate. No. Awesome, excellent, all right. Let me circle back real quick to Druzy just to see if there was anything else I wanted to interrogate Alyssa about with respect to her dwarf character. About how old is Druzy?
Probably middle-aged, so it's probably hard to tell, given that dwarves tend to be fairly long-lived compared to humans, anyway.
Middle age for
just kind of
dwarf would
weathered
be
and
between 150
grounded.
and 300 years.
Well, and again, we can call it whatever we want, because this is our own world. But I'm sorry, Alyssa, what were you saying?
I was saying she's kind of weathered and grounded. So, not, definitely not a teenager or anything like that.
Cool, excellent. And what do you think? What do you think might have motivated her to start going out and adventuring with folks such as these?
I would say it's probably kind of not exactly a sabbatical, but every once in a while you have to take some time away in order to come back and serve with a new perspective. So that type of a thing, sort of a pilgrimage.
I was trying to think, is the closest term I can think of is like Rumspringa, but I know this is probably not that.
Walkabout.
Yeah.
That's the one.
There we go. That's the chap. Cool, awesome. Now let us get to Brian. Tell us a bit about Kestrel.
Okay, Kestrel is a halfling. He has shifty eyes, wears dark clothes with a cloak, and other than that is just visually typically thin halfling-like.
Cool. So I see that you put Lakeland's accent here. Where are the Lakelands?
The Lakelands are the place where most halflings come from. It's the place, like, if you're a halfling, everyone assumes your family lives. It just happens to be true for Kestrel.
Okay.
And a lot of them don't bother to leave, but he's one of the ones that has been traveling through the cities, living off of those that have a lot more money than he does, and just trying to balance things out.
Excellent.
I'm like a druid, but for money.
Looking for that glorious money tree. One day, we will find it. The world money tree.
Aren't we all?
I know, right? I've got to ask then, why the desert?
Okay, that's an easy one. It was an unfortunate circumstance, however. You see, there are these trade caravans, and they go through the desert. And caravans are where money and stuff is. So I was following one, and then I looked around, and I'm surrounded by sand.
Dang it!
Oh,
I hate when that
great.
happens.
This is the best.
Awesome. Excellent. All right. So, I'm already heartily enjoying myself here. So let's see. I think we should probably now look a little bit into some settings stuff and also the bonds for our characters. Now, as we've had a little bit of time to digest it, does anyone see anything amongst the oracles that we drew that they think their characters would either be connected to or have knowledge of?
Well, I'm trying to stay away from that executioner. I can tell you that.
Definitely not great. Yeah. So did you? Well, there's the
And
question.
I'm wondering. Yeah.
Well, did that happen to you at some point? Were you?
Go ahead. I think I know what you're going to ask.
Well, sorry. Well, let me ask. Were you the burglar, and or did you know the burglar that got executed? Obviously, if you were the burglar, you escaped. But
yeah, I was not the burglar that time, but I did know the guy, and in this case, it was a job we were doing together, and I just was the one that didn't get caught.
That's fair. That's fair. Billy Joe, was that around here, or?
Yes, it would have been a nearby village for sure.
Okay, excellent.
Possibly, if we happen to be starting in a village, maybe even the one that we're currently in. But
probably, it's entirely possible. Yes. I now I'm not asking you to come up with this immediately, but now is the time, folks, that perhaps to go to fantasynamegenerator.com or any other such things, because I will ask you in a little bit if you have that character's name.
Okay, I'll come up with something soon.
Sure, absolutely. And if not, I can generate one. I just need I just want to give you folks the option to kind of make these things. Okay. Are there any other of these, or even that same one, that anyone wants to have any connection to? Connection to or knowledge of?
Rourke would have knowledge of the fearsome storm.
Fearsome storm with thunder and driving winds. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Being
a creature of the wild that he is.
Does the storm portend something?
Coming doom?
The awakening of that ancient demon god that I've heard some rumors about.
That is entirely the case.
Well, I mean, what's funny is that the last two lines there, the short sword and the demon god, I feel like those could be easily linked together.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Fearsome storm is pertains to those last two.
Oh yeah, good call. I like that too.
A soldier is playing short sword, gradually developing a taste for the blood of people. A demon god of blood and vengeance. Okay. Yes, here we go. Forgotten since... So demon god's about to wake up, possibly looking for its sword. It says a soldier is playing short sword. I think the important question that I'm going to have to ask now is which one of you has it?
Has a sword?
Yes.
I was thinking that Nevermind would have written a song called Little Red Cutlass. And it would be about the sword.
Okay, cool. So maybe no one in the party necessarily has it, but maybe it's something that is... There's been an inspiration for it recently. It's a known thing. Maybe it's around here somewhere. There might be, and it says a soldier is either there is someone who is a soldier that has it, or it belonged at one time to a soldier who is fairly well known. And there is that.
It could also be a family's heirloom.
It entirely could be. And once again, if anyone wants to be a member of that family, please let me know. As we're doing this.
Maybe it's a soldier of legend whose soul is hidden behind the foundations of my people's old citadel.
Ooh, neat.
Which is now in ruins.
Excellent. Good.
And
Good. Good.
the winds have foretold his reawakening as a demon god.
So, this is going to be very interesting. Excellent. Okay, well, I think we've almost got enough to start now, actually, because I've just, the pieces just clicked into place for me based on what I've been reading. However, we do need to do bonds. So with all of this in mind, we're going to go around and we're going to get our bonds together here. So who wants to be first to assign bonds to folks? Let me actually. Some of you might not be. If you, let me make sure that I'm gonna pull up the PDF here because I think that's where they're actually written.
Yeah, I have the rule book with the bonds too.
Cool. So,
Yeah, I have it pulled up on a second screen.
So, who wants to fill in a bond to start? Or I could call on someone.
Yeah.
I'm going to roll a d5. I'm going to roll a d5 and call on someone. Okay. Brian, you win.
Okay.
So you have Datif. So
Right, I have my list. I think I stole something from Druzy.
Awesome.
And we don't need to be too specific about it yet, right?
Let's see. I stole something. Not necessarily. We don't have to be. However, I strongly encourage you to think of what that was.
Yeah, we need to figure that out. And
or Druzy can figure out what that was. Something you've had
actually,
something go missing.
I like that
recently.
better. Alyssa, what did I steal from Druzy?
Oh, well, obviously it was something valuable.
or at least that I thought was valuable.
Maybe like my grandmother's amethyst brooch.
Oh, ow. That's got to be it.
Ah. Oh. Yeah. Have you noticed it's missing yet?
That's an excellent question. Assuming I wear it all the time, probably yes.
All right. So, yeah, something has occurred,
Gotcha. I'll get that on the character.
and yeah, it's not good. Not good at all. Were your other family members also were they also in the clericking business, or or was it something else?
Probably my grandmother was. Several of my family members were also in the mining business. So, gold and gems, and I don't know, that we're probably wealthy, but I don't talk about that.
No, yeah, no, that's not good. So, but your grandmother, whose brooch this is, yes? Then, is this something that is significant to your order specifically? Or is it more just a family thing?
I would say probably more a family thing.
Okay.
Sort of a passing the torch, personally.
Yeah. So what kind of would it have like a? So what would it look like? Would it have like a symbol of some kind on it? You think?
Probably. I'm thinking some sort of like dwarven knotwork.
That's it.
To clasp around the gemstone.
It's unmistakably dwarven. I can't even disguise it as something else. That's awesome. Yeah, we're good. Okay.
Yeah. So that means that you're gonna have to be careful because if you try Kestrel, because if you try to move that out here,
Yeah.
it's going to be pretty obvious where it came from. So there's ways, but you know, it's tricky. You're coming to a town.
This is this is a long-term goal.
Yeah, but and like every now and then, perhaps you imagine that someone's grandmother is berating you slightly, but it's hard to anyway. Hard to tell. Which would be particularly disturbing if your grandmother's still alive, but I don't know whether she is or not. But in any case, so that's a bond. How many bonds does yours say to fill out?
At least
At
one,
Okay. So we'll stop there for now, and
circle
then
back around. Yeah,
we'll go back around. We'll keep going round. And let's see. Has anyone since thought of one they want to do? If not, I shall start calling on people.
Rorik and Druzy. Druzy is a friend of nature, so I will be their friend as well.
All right.
Excellent. Goodness, good. And yeah, I mean, there is this interesting sort of thing that's kind of going on. And again, I'm going to ask Alyssa because you were chosen. There is, I think, the possibility of an interesting element here because you're on your sort of walkabout type thing, and if, as you say, your family is somewhat more of means, then perhaps was there like a desire to get kind of away from that and sort of understand more about the world, possibly nature?
I think so, yes.
Yeah. So I think that might be something that Rorik was able to see and you were able to kind of sort of identify with, which is cool.
This wild-looking elf that randomly walked through your town one day.
It's like elves. Do you? And I think the also the important question is, do you like Aja the hawk? Because whether you like his hawk or not, I think is going to come into play. Just whether you like his pet is going to come into play because I got to get along with both of them.
She is quite frightening.
Well, she is a force of nature, and therefore she is to be respected and admired.
This is good. So that is that works quite well. Cool. Awesome. Now let's see who else would like to go.
How about I casted something into the fire for Nevermind, and I still owe them their due.
Cool. So Anino, what do you think Candlefang sought out for you in the fire?
I'm not sure I understand what casting into fire is for exactly.
I'm kind of assuming is it a seer type thing, where sort of like an oracular thing, or
I'll be honest, I don't really know either. The thing that maybe I had in mind is that one of the abilities of immolators is to craft jewelry or armor or something like that, and you wanted something to be made out of metal, and I would like, oh yeah, sure, I'm gonna do it, and I still haven't made it.
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think he's supposed to be making for you?
Let's see.
Yeah.
Read the cracks. Toss a bone in fire and then read the cracks.
Well, yeah, I was realizing that I cast something into the fire, so that could be, yeah. I mean, it could be just making something, or because it's maybe there's a bit of forging stuff that goes on that way. How do we think that process works for this? What do you do when you're casting something into the fire?
It's some sort of divination thing, right, in the book?
Well, it could be. I just sort of assumed that, and then I realized I was misreading
Yeah.
the bond. So it can mean either. Yeah. So to cast something into a fire is obviously you're going to. Usually you're going to throw an object into a fire, but
just chuck it there.
a lot of different ways we can interpret that.
Yeah. Hold on. I think I have the Dungeon World book somewhere around here. But do you have any ideas? Never mind of what it could be.
Nothing's coming to me at the moment.
That's okay. We can circle back around if need be. And also, the bonds themselves, I will say that I don't think they're going to further define that bond specifically in the book. I think it's something that's open to interpretation, so we can figure it out. So, like, for example, cast something into the fire could mean a divination thing. It could mean they wanted me to burn something, to destroy something for them. So there's that. There's the possibility, again, like we were saying, that they wanted me to forge something for them, or there might have been like some magical thing that needed to go on. There could have been some other ritualistic thing going on. So there are a lot of different ways we can interpret it.
Okay. I think that in that case, he wants Candlefang to destroy a binding contract that Nevermind has with the noble who is supposedly his patron.
I like that.
Obligated to craft music for him.
Excellent. And maybe the contract was drawn up in some way that there's a bit of magic about it, so it can only really be destroyed through magical fire.
Yeah.
It's like sort of even the symbol of breaking the contract is it has to be burned through magical flames. Candlefang has access to that. I'm wondering, then, why Candlefang has not yet done it.
Maybe Candlefang realizes that he cannot burn it, and only the person who drafted it can burn it.
Nice. So it might be a thing where it's like you thought you could do it, and then like, oh crap.
Yeah.
So I guess then the next logical question that comes to me is: have you told Nevermind this, or does he believe that it's been destroyed?
I think he would have told him.
Okay. That's fine.
But like, there's a tint of shame when he's like, "Listen, man, I can't," because it's fire. It's what he does. So,
and I presume you're still trying to figure out more about how to do it. But it's if the idea is it has to be done by the patron, then that's a bit nuts. There might be more ways around it, but there'll have to be more powerful magic for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of angry staring at the contract.
Burst into flames, damn it! Won't happen. So I think my next... one other thing also then, Anino, at some point, you can, if you would be interested in doing so, feel free to come up with a name for your patron. And we can deal with that whenever.
Sony.
It's very appropriate.
I was hoping you'd say Microsoft, or as I like to call them, Microshit.
That's pretty good.
So I think I figured out how Nevermind's going to get out of this contract.
Lord Sonus. Let's just call him
Lord Sonus. Lord Sonus. Excellent. So I'm just going to give this to you. There's a mystical glyph that you're seeking out, and if you adopt that as your title, then that might also break the contract.
I must evolve my music in art.
Okay. So let's see. We have. Okay. I'm going to. Now I'm going to call on. I'm going to call on Alyssa, and I'm going to ask if there's anyone you would like to make a bond with.
Well, Rorik is a good and faithful person, and I trust him implicitly.
Ooh. What do you think? So, Rorik, was there something that you did or said at some point that caused you to earn that trust?
I taught them the ways of the wild.
Okay. So was there like a specific thing that you showed Druzy how to do that kind of was sort of a turning point when things sort of clicked for her?
How to communicate with the animals. How to track them. What plants are poisonous, which ones are edible.
So I think then, that being the case, then that means that Druzy has a slightly better understanding of, now, a little bit at least, as it's getting in, how to just sort of how to deal with such things than she did before, than a lot of her people did before. So that's going to be going to be a big deal when you take that back home and do your cleric's master thesis, or whatever such thing, the equivalent thereof. So there's a lot that I think in mining culture probably is ignored. So there are ways to dig in more harmony with the earth, and I mean a lot of dwarves do know about that, but I think that it's good to get more sides of it. So that's, I think, going to be particularly good whenever you end up returning. And I believe that has us circle back around to Anino, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think you've claimed a bond on anyone yet.
No. Let's see. I was thinking that Nevermind has written several songs about Rorik before he ever met Rorik. He wrote songs because he heard stories about an elf and his bird.
Yeah.
And he was so inspired that he wrote several songs about an unshakable bond between two creatures, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So
but he probably won't. But he won't realize that he was writing about Rorik.
Interesting. Okay. So it's like you were just writing these about just anyone, and then it turned out that you met Rorik, and it was like, it's you. That kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, like, he just heard stories about it, and, he decided to put it to song.
Rorik, would you care to name a specific exploit that might appear in song?
Not at this time. I need to think of one.
Okay, that's fine. No, that's cool. But, I mean, even just the whole, Last of the Rangers thing is probably a significant enough deal that there's something, there may be meat in there somewhere. Okay.
Last of the True Rangers.
Last of the True Rangers, yes, that's fair. Now, as you may have noticed, every time someone gets picked in a bond, I then turn and I ask that person for more questions to try to flesh things out. Who have I not done that to yet? Okay, Brian, I have not done that to yet. And did Dragun? Did anyone pick you for a bond? Did I ask you any questions about someone bonding to you yet?
I have a good bond for Kestrel.
Okay.
Cool. So do I.
Oh, and similarly, I have one for Candlefang. So.
Excellent.
Nice.
Well, let's go back around then. I'll start again with Brian, and we'll jump from thing to thing. So, Kestrel, what second bond do you want to do?
Candlefang has my back when things go wrong.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Interesting. So, Candlefang, why do you think that is? What is it that causes you to look out for Kestrel? Or to at least give him the impression that you have his back.
At least I've successfully fooled him. No, maybe like among Candlefang's people, among the salamander folk, there's this going on tale. I don't think there's any distinction whether it's true or not that the humans from this settlement pushed them away from the place that they used to live in, and there's some sort of a resentfulness. I don't know what's the actual word from him regarding the city folk, and then he saw some city folk attacking Kestrel. Sorry, I'm really bad with characters. And real life names too. He saw some city folk harassing Kestrel, and he defended him.
Nice, I like that.
I wonder if this might have been I'm just curious, and the answer can be yes or no here, or unknown. Did any of these city folk happen to be wearing guard uniforms?
Listen, the customs of this human, they are unknown. I don't know. I actually don't know on a player level if Kestrel was innocent or not. Like if he brought it upon himself to be harassed by the city folk.
It's 50-50.
A potato.
Yeah.
It was there. It's mine. You know.
I think there'd been
Depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
I think there'd been an execution recently, probably, and so there was probably a great deal of folder all around that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Excellent. And you in turn had a just while we're on the topic, then you in turn had a bond you wanted to make. As well,
I do. That Kestrel has felt the hellish touch of fire. They know my true strength.
Nice.
Now this is interesting. So, I have to ask then, Brian, how do you think that happened?
Okay, so Kestrel, let's just first off, we mentioned earlier, completely not used to this whole desert thing. So, metaphorically and on a very low level, he felt the touch of fire. But just as he thought he was getting used to it, he ran into a okay, I know what it was. He heard the rumors of a treasure cave that was just off the path that the caravan that he was following was on. So after everyone had gone to sleep, he struck off on his own towards it. Turns out treasure cave was real, and so was the fire elemental guarding it. It's one of the reasons he wears the hood, because he's missing part of his right ear and a significant amount of the hair on the back of his head.
Excellent. So good. Good. Yes.
He just barely escaped.
And so this is something you then let Candlefang know, presumably, because.
After I got to know him, I'm like, hey, you know about fire. What can you tell me about this horrible creature that burned me? Right.
You're a fire boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is like a clan of Afrits out here that
they hate me.
Do show up. Yeah, for some reason. They don't seem to there has been this thing where Afrits they've not quite been attacking your party, but they keep showing up.
I am firmly on Team Salamander.
And so it's almost inexplicable why these Afrits seem for the last few weeks or whatever seem to have been stalking your party. I don't know why. So who else had a second bond they wanted to make? I think at least one other person had a second one, if I recall correctly.
second, third, and fourth.
All right. Well, what's the second one?
Kestrel has no respect for nature, so I have no respect for them.
So, Kestrel, what do you think?
Back to those elementals.
I mean, there could be a connection there, but what?
I
what
beg
do
to
you think?
differ. I have a healthy respect for those elementals now.
Now, yes.
Now,
Was there something specific that
Yeah,
Rorik
what,
saw that saw you doing or that happening with you that?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I could have done. Oh, it might have been something as simple as saying something disparaging about my family back home, because they're nature people.
Yeah.
They are
like,
they're-
oh, I ditched those losers.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, it's not nature. It's just most of the other halflings.
Can't stand lakes. I hate
Yeah.
lakes.
Yeah, lakes can do one.
Lakes bring life, small one.
We're out of the desert. Why can you possibly hate? Ah, that's awesome. Okay. Before I ask about your other bonds that you want to assign, does anyone else want to assign a second or additional bonds otherwise? That they may
I'm
or
good
may
with the
not
two I have.
Okay. Anybody else?
I am working on converting Kestrel to my face.
Nice.
What makes you think that Kestrel? What behavior has Kestrel exhibited that makes you think that that they would be a good candidate?
People don't seem to like him very much, so maybe I can help him become a better person.
Also, I'm excellent at appraising jewels.
Yeah, he's quite good at that. Oh my God. Okay, so the context now. So the context of this robbery suddenly makes sense to me.
Oh, I'm going to be writing a song about this.
I imagine the conversation went something like, "Oh, what does ecumenical mean? It means I believe that all denominations are valid. Oh, me too. Gold, platinum, and if they those cute little electrum pieces, I believe in those too."
I love it so much. Oh my God. So yeah, so Brian, was there something that that Kestrel did or said also that is part of this that kind of you think started this chain of recruitment?
Yeah. So what sort of deity are we talking about, or what's the tenet? What are the main tenets?
Yeah, I think it's a more general pantheon of deity types, right? Or is it a?
Yeah. And as far as Druzy in particular, it's more like giving back to the community. So maybe she's trying to convince him to be more like, oh, you steal from the rich and give to the poor.
Actually, he has done that. Yeah, you would have spotted him doing that at least once, honestly.
So there we go.
Yeah, he's not just a tiny capitalist nightmare. He actually does give to. He actually has given to beggars and the poor as we've moved through various villages.
Yes, I'm a good cleric. I never said I was lawful.
Right.
Yes, awesome. Okay, that is great. Does anyone else have any additional bonds they want to throw out? Or shall I cycle back to Rorik again for a minute? Yeah, going once, going twice. All right. I will go back to Rorik then. What's your next bond that you wanted to fill?
Nevermind does not understand life in the wild, so I will teach them.
Sure, why not?
Do you think that? Well, let me see. What do you think? Why do you think, Anino? Why do you think Rorik got that impression?
Maybe because Nevermind is just single. Is just sort of lost in the creative process that he sort of sleepwalks through the rest of life, I guess. Apart from just entertaining people or having discourse with people.
Yeah, so I can easily see that as being a thing where it's like, I think, Nevermind, I imagine is on a completely different sort of plane mentally. So it's like, I can easily see to Rorik how that would look like you're not paying attention to your surroundings when you just have different input, I think, probably going on.
Yeah, I mean, like, he doesn't think about things like survival, I guess. Just because he sort of like he wanders from place to place, and he just happens that I think one of the skills or things about bards in this game is that so when he first enters a civilized settlement, someone who respects the customs of hospitality to minstrels will always take him in as a guest. So he kind of never really had to fend for himself in such a way. This is just charisma, I guess, and his whole shtick sort of just means like, we must take care of this man so that he can continue to create, I guess.
Excellent. So I think we're about almost there. I know Rorik had. There was like a fourth one you wanted to do?
Yep, one for Candlefang.
Okay.
I have guided Candlefang before, and they owe me for it.
Candlefang, in what way did Rorik guide you?
Right when I left my home settlement, I was caught in a sandstorm. Pretty much one of the worst sandstorms that the area had seen. And being an inexperienced explorer, I got caught up in it and turned around. And right about when I was about to die, Rorik came upon me.
Excellent. So sort of guided you out of the sandstorm?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I think we are about ready. Were there any other bonds anyone else wanted to do?
I kind of have one, but I don't know how it could work.
Okay.
With a Druzy, I will teach them the true meaning of sacrifice.
So, what do you think? What are we thinking?
Well, we did sort of touch on sort of leaving behind my family's wealth and reputation and learning more about the rest of the world. So it could tie in with that in some way.
Say goodbye to grandmother's brooch.
I don't know where it went.
I have to ask now, since it has come up again. The rule is now I have to ask: is grandmother still alive?
No.
Excellent.
No, I think the brooch was kind of an inheritance thing, probably.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's an heirloom, so yeah, that makes sense. All right. That's there we go. Let Let me just checking this out real quick. That and so what was the how is that bond worded again, Dragon?
I will teach them the true meaning of sacrifice.
True meaning of sacrifice. Ooh, okay. So yes, and this ties in again. We were saying to Druzy's sort of separation from family's ways, something along those lines. What do we think? Do we think that there's just is it just that Candlefang's helping you deal with that, or is there something else going on?
I suppose that could be part of it, but then again, it could be something even more personal, like actually putting myself in danger to protect other people, as opposed to just, healing them when they come to me.
Yeah. So, I'm actually curious what kind of lesson Candlefang thinks they should be teaching Druzy about that. Aside, I mean, it could be just as basic as like you need to help people, but
maybe like he thinks that being passive is not enough sacrifice.
Yeah.
Like just healing people when they come is not enough. Like he thinks maybe that she should go out and put more things at stake in order to help people.
Yep. Cool. All right. So, I think then, assuming that so, are there any other details that anyone wants to fill in before we actually get our stuff started here? We're gonna go to break before we do, but I just wanted to know before we go to break if there are any other character details or background details anyone wants to throw in here.
Nothing from here
before we get together on this.
Characters, I think that each class has some sort of like piece of gear that's just for flavor, something like that. We could go around the players and specify what that is.
Okay, something weird is happening to the sheets over here. That's strange.
Oh, really?
Let me close that and open that again. Let me make sure I'm looking at this right. Okay, that's okay. And that's now... Oh, okay, I'm on a different tab. I understand now. Everything's fine.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah, okay. If there's like a special... Are you referring to a specific place? Oh, yeah, special under your gear that you've got?
Yeah, under gear, each one has a different particular item.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. If you have a special piece of gear that you're carrying that you would like to talk about, do so now. I will start with Candlefang.
I have a symbol of sacrifices past, and the thing is that not everyone survives the implanting of the crystal, and one of his childhood friends died during that surgery, during that procedure, and now he keeps that kind of as a pendant, the stone that would be on his friend. It was deactivated since whenever the infusion happens, the living being and the magical forces in the stone kind of join together, and if they are incompatible, all that magic is spent. So he carries that whenever he goes.
Did your friend survive the process, or
no, they didn't.
Okay, so it's kind of probably tied to him in some way, possibly his spirit.
Yeah.
Also, at some point, you may wish to come up with a name for your friend.
Yeah.
And again, you don't have to do that immediately, but yeah. So let's go ahead and go. If you have an item you want to mention, now is the time. Who has something else? Anyone?
Looking at the gear list for Rangers, nothing. I guess that would be the animal companion, which would be
Yeah,
Alyssa.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So we already went over that. Unless there's anything else you want to say about Aja.
She's your typical hawk,
Excellent.
bird of prey,
Yes.
likes perching on people's heads or their shoulders.
That is the
It
best place
scares
for
the
it.
hell out of people while doing it.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. Does anyone else have any particular items or gear or anything else special on there that was on their sheets that they want to make known at this time? All right. Anyone? Okay. That being the case, then we are going to go ahead and go to break, and then when we come back, we shall begin adventuring.
Awesome.
So we'll be back in like 5-10 minutes. See you soon. we have returned. And now, before we launch into this, there are a few questions now on the dungeon starter that I want to ask to kind of solidify where we are, what we're doing at this moment. Actually, I kind of have an idea of what we're doing at this moment. But before I do that to you, I'm going to ask some of these out, and feel free to sort of chime in and discuss it if you wish. But these are things that are going on in the story of the game, or will be. I'll tell you that to start, and we've drawn a little map in Roll20 that I'm not showing to the audience because I'm a terrible artist, but that's just for our own reference. There's not much to it. On the western side, there's a little town. On the eastern side, there are ruins. In the middle, there's this big column of dust and a couple of oases, and a little cave of fire in the bottom right-hand corner there. You folks are going to be roughly here when we start, not too far from this town, but still sort of approaching. Now, the first question that, again, could apply to at least to just one of you, or could apply to more than one of you, could apply to the whole party. But as we shape this, the question is, why do you seek the head of a Gorgon?
I have a reason. Does anyone else have one?
I was hoping you would, because of all of us, you seem like the most, the one most likely to go for it.
Yeah. To prove that I am a worthy warrior to return to my people.
Does anyone else want to deal with this Gorgon?
I just found out that heads of Gorgons exist, and now I'm doing everything in my power to avoid them.
I mean, it's relatively safe once you've got the head off, but these things.
Fair enough.
The next question. How did you learn of Omanu, the City of Pillars? And I'm going to go ahead and type that on our little map.
I heard about it from the traders in that caravan I was following.
Excellent. What did they say about it?
Well, most of them said it was a terrible place that should be avoided at all costs, but a couple of them had stories about people that returned from it with actually not even things, but they were changed, and I got the sense that they were changed positively, not like when I got changed and went to that fire cave.
Yeah. Much more. If only you'd headed north.
Bad change.
All right. Interesting. So positive changes.
Rourke learned about the City of Pillars being tied to the massive storm that is in the center of the desert.
Yes. The Great Sand Column, the Eternal Sirocco, perhaps, assuming I'm using that word correctly.
You are.
Yay! Had to happen sooner or later. It's tied to it, you say?
Tied in whatever way the gods will. In other words, our lovely GM.
Oh yeah. True, but was there a specific rumor you might have heard that would have said that maybe the... Okay, I do have an idea. Maybe the Eternal Sirocco was said to have been birthed in the City of Pillars and came out from it, and has slowly been moving west. Like maybe every year it gets closer to civilization.
It moves an inch every year.
Yeah, very slowly, glacially, one might say. But,
Like Niagara Falls, we lose a foot of it every year.
and I'd say that there's this terrible trail of
Destruction.
eternal destruction in its wake. Yeah, exactly. That comes sort of, that does kind of do that. All right. So, the next question for someone else to answer is, why do you believe a Gorgon dwells in the City of Pillars? Why don't we get someone who hasn't spoken yet? So, I guess I could call on someone. How about Anino?
Damn it.
Why is there a Gorgon in the City of Pillars? Oh, why do you think there is?
Symbolism?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with symbolism. Maybe I'm sorry, Gorgon's like Medusa, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
I'm fairly certain that she's not very fond of men, yet is surrounded by columns, which are, by nature, fairly phallic.
Okay. So that's definitely a thought.
I'm sure there's a song in there somewhere.
There probably is, probably several. But yeah, that's,
Oh yeah.
You've probably heard yes, several things about that, just sort of that idea that there's the idea that, I think you've heard rumors that just there's a kind of very few people have come out of there. Actually, those that have didn't really get that close. They did talk about statuary. They could have sworn there were a bunch of statues there. But there's a legendary statue garden that you can only hear little bits about. But yes, definitely. The next question is, how much time have you spent in the desert, which is called Albir Matruk, the Sea of No Tracks? I think I will ask Alyssa. That's the only person whose voice I've not heard yet.
I would say at least several weeks, since I've had time to connect with Rorik, and everyone else has made their various connections in the area, so probably several weeks at least.
Excellent. Several weeks. So you've had time. I'm just going to write that down here. Make sure I spell it correctly, so folks can see it. There we go. And Yeah, so it's not been like a full month necessarily, maybe. So like it's like close to a month, you think, as these things go?
A fortnight and a half.
1.5 fortnights.
In other words, 3 weeks.
Yeah, basically.
Sure.
All right. Excellent. I am curious about a couple of things, but we can figure that out. There's probably an adjoining desert that was before this one that folks come through, but that was perhaps more populous. Hey, thank you for the raid, Winged Horizon. Thank you very much, much appreciated. We're playing Dungeon World, and we're just about to get into it. I'm just asking the last questions before I slay everyone. Before I start the adventure. Awesome. Thank you. Also, thank you for the bits, Sam. Thank you for the bits. Yay! Okay, well, bits on the line. Got to actually do this for real now. Awesome. Thank you so much. So, this little town over here is called Shis, according to this little, according to this document I have. And so, someone else may answer. Why do the people of Shis fear the desert? I mean, we've got a number of things out there now, but anything new or interesting is a reason why they might fear the desert.
Maybe they are superstitious about a magical being living there.
Excellent. What is do they talk about the kind of being this is, or is it a mystery?
I mean, if anyone else wants to chip in, maybe you can get it.
I was thinking of desert nomads, probably.
Hmm.
That no one's ever been able to identify, I guess.
So there's perhaps there's like a cult of nomads out there. Well, I say cult, but it's a group of nomads that perhaps does not behave in the way that most nomads would necessarily. There's something identifiable about them, something that makes them, perhaps to the people of the town anyway, seemingly dangerous.
Oh, another thing maybe is the compasses don't work in the desert.
Ooh,
I like that.
yes.
I like that a lot. Oh, and the nomads are able to navigate.
Yes.
Yes.
These nomads can navigate. Compasses don't work. Navigation spells are very difficult. So getting across is really hard. These nomads, however, can do it.
The
But
compasses always point towards the eternal Sirocco.
yes, exactly. That thing is just throwing everything off. So I think that there is, therefore, they don't want to rely on these nomads. But anyone who wants to cross the desert, although not that many people would want to go out out in this direction away from civilization, but there is probably tell that there are camps of nomads out here that perhaps will offer guidance. Candlefang might know a little bit more about them, but we can reveal that as it comes up, since Candlefang, I think, is the only local. There is something they have kind of a dark reputation, as though they have things about, they have perhaps done something, perhaps they made a deal of some kind, or they have some sort of connection to the Sirocco that is making all of this work for them in their favor.
Yeah, people think that the nomads created the Sirocco.
Oh, nice. Excellent. I'm going to say that, just so that I don't forget, I imagine that there are, somewhere around here, is roughly where the camps start. in various directions. But, yeah. All right. He says, drawing things on the map that no one can see. No one! Believe me, you don't want to see.
It's
Final
not that
question.
bad.
Oh, look! There are more realistic pillars appearing.
Yeah, I'm working slowly on them.
Cool. Final question. And we can rephrase this if we want to. And I'll tell you the way it's phrased, and then we can play with it a little bit if we need to make it fit better. The question it asks is, who among you worships Hamia, the Protector? And Hamia is Hamia. Worship, perhaps not necessarily, but might know things about, we can say, if not worships.
Well, it would make sense if that was me.
Sure. Who's Hamia? Tell us all about them. Or a little bit about them.
I expect you to have a full gospel for Anya.
By tomorrow morning.
9 a.m. on my desk before the first bell. No.
Is Hamia an actual deity or more of like a saint? Like a paladin of protection with lots of legend and lore?
Sure. Could be, yeah, some sort of protector figure, like a saint-like figure, or a...
Right. Yeah, thinking maybe like a saint or a paladin, sort of probably my childhood hero.
There are stories about Hamia. A legendary figure. Oh, here we go. Alright. So, here's a thought. Did Hamia fight the demon god of blood and vengeance?
Yes.
Because then... Yes, now circling back and looking at this. Yeah. Hamia helped turn back the tide of the demon god's army. Took from them their blade, which contained some of their essence. Buried it deep, somewhere in the desert. And then apparently a soldier found it at some point and started wreaking havoc, and then it got buried again after they caught them. Or maybe that hasn't happened yet. Maybe that's a prophecy. Someone will come, a soldier wielding it, and rain destruction across the Sea of No Tracks, guiding the Sirocco in their wake. I think that's probably a thing that's happening. Perhaps shortly. In the meantime, however, here's what's going on. So, well, I am getting a little bit of feedback off someone. Just the moment, let me do this. Okay. As this is going on now.
Is the feedback going?
It came back for a second. It was still going when I muted myself, though, so I don't think it's off me. But it's not there right now. So we'll keep going.
I also plugged my tablet in, so it could be for me plugging
Oh,
in.
okay. Oh, I gotcha. Well, let's get this going. So, as you are approaching the city, the town of Shis, which... Kestrel, not your favorite place to go. As you've had some situations recently there. But you weren't positively identified, so...
Fair enough.
Not too big a deal. There is a there is a valley you have to walk through to get there. So you enter this little valley, and Shiz is at the other end of it. And again, as you you get to see there once again, you see those shadows of carrion birds circling as they're coming through. You get I would say that it's probably mid-morning as you're heading up, and you're getting kind of short on supplies, so it is time to go back and resupply. As you're preparing to, for a number of reasons perhaps independent, starting to think about this Gorgon thing and trying to go and deal with it. But it is more or less at this point, as you're looking around, let's see, there are a few dead trees here. There are some, like, a few older, things that, you don't see a lot of trees out here, obviously, but a few isolated ones, dead logs and what have you. They're lying by the side as you enter down into it. And as you're progressing, you are maybe, I would say, let's call it about 500 yards or so from the town, maybe a little bit further. That one of the a couple of these sort of dried up bushes that are kind of strewn around in the valley a bit ahead of you bursts into flames.
Oh, great.
Kind of spontaneously. And then a couple of them burst into flame kind of spontaneously behind you.
Huh.
And you hear this sort of crackling. Which, unfortunately, Kestrel, is something you recognize a little bit because... I'm sorry I keep picking on you, but it's just right there. There are... You see these sort of swarming through the sand, these sort of waves of heat that are taking on almost humanoid in their appearance, as you realize that once again the fire imps have found you.
Oh, great! These guys again.
Yeah, they are, shall we say, sort of lower level, but they are kind of scouts for the clan of Afreet that is one of the few groups that thrives out in the desert. And yes, they appear to be trying to encircle you folk. So I am now going to go to each of you and ask what you are doing. And this, there is no initiative order per se in Dungeon World. It's mostly just sort of go from person to person, and you do a thing and the narrative progresses. If you do a thing that triggers a move, we enact that move. So, as we do this, let's see. Yeah, so see these waves of heat. You can't make them out that clearly, these fire imps, but you know they're there. And I think the first person who's to notice them would probably be Candlefang, because fire, also local. You see them come up. What are you doing?
What is the reputation of the fire imps? Are they like mischievous goblins, or?
They tend to be when they are not organized. The individually they have a tendency to just be off, and they can either you can either deal with them or not. If they are, however, working for someone, as you suspect these are, because there's like half a dozen of them,
Right.
they are probably more specifically directed. And so if these are, it's kind of in one might say sort of a mafia arrangement, as it were. You don't really want to, if there's someone like an Efreet that's holding your leash, you don't want to try to bite back. So they'll do whatever it is that they've been instructed to do, and they're probably, he probably doesn't, knowing what you do know about Custer, probably doesn't take too much to figure out why they're here. Or, you know, it could just be a shakedown. Hard to say.
Yeah, so we're basically surrounded by flame, right?
Not yet. It's right now. It's a wave of heat, and fire is starting to spread. You've got a few things very near you that are burning, and it is starting to make a circle. It has not completed the circle yet.
So yeah, Candlefang hisses. Fire goblins. Well, get behind me. I can handle the fire. I can handle the flame. I can turn them against them and scare them away.
All right.
And I want to step ahead and use my ability, Suko style, which is bending flames to my will.
Awesome. All right. You should have a thing on there where you can.
Yeah. How do I roll
before
with
you
this?
before you do the rollery?
Do I just click the name of the move?
So typically, yeah, you usually just click the name of the move when you do roll.
Hey, there you go.
All right. And
I got a
the
7.
effect is short-lived, lasting only a moment.
Only
Okay.
for a moment.
So, describe for me what it is that you're doing first, and then I'll tell you kind of how that's gonna go.
So yeah, I stand with feet. Yeah, exactly, as in Prince Zuko. Stand with my feet kind of planted shoulder length, and draw a small flame up from my crystal, and kind of extend it towards where the other flames are, and try to rope them in to my position in order to shoot it back at them.
Okay. So yeah, you pull the flames out. You pull the flames out and hurl them. You don't manage to. So just to be clear, are you trying to hurt them, or are you trying to corral them, or what is it you're trying to do?
To intimidate them.
To intimidate them. Okay.
Mostly, yeah.
So this flash of fire comes from Candlefang, as though he's sort of wielding a lasso of flame and heat wave that shoots off and then breaks over them. And they are sort of seemingly, they stop in their tracks for a moment as this is happening, giving you a moment to everyone else a moment to act if you want to try to break away from them or get into a more advantageous position. I am going to, as this is happening, I'm going to flip over to Rorik and ask what it is that you are doing.
Friends of yours, Kestrel? He says as he's trying to get on top of the bluff so he can get an aerial view, while also sending Aja off to scout out, see if there's any more
Okay.
of these unnatural.
Awesome. Let me go ahead and pick that up here. All right. I'm just trying to see if there's a. So you just basically, it's going to go and it'll let you know. She'll let you know if there are more coming. So you do that. You set her up, And I think I think this is despite an imminent threat that we have here, so I'm going to ask you to defy danger. And so that's one of your basic moves over on the left. Should be. Yeah, or yeah, up there. It's under your basic moves. Defy danger, and we're going to do that with... let's see. I guess we'll do that with wisdom, because you're communicating with your... doing it through communication with Aja. So go ahead and defy danger with wisdom for me. All right. So let's see. You do send her up. As this happens, however, in so doing, that does, as you're sort of sending her off, that does kind of distract one of the ones enough that it kind of shakes out of its fear, and it leaps at you. Let us pull the fire imp up again. Dee. And they have a compendium and everything. Roll a d6 for me, please.
Rolling 1d6.
6. Okay, so that's 6 damage that you're going to be taking, minus any armor that you have. You have like an armor. So that's
what armor?
So this thing leaps at you and is kind of almost sort of absorbed as it comes in. It sort of its body sort of dissipates because it's was sort of a desperate leap that it made as you were sending Aja up. And you see now that Rorik is, and this was just Rorik, is currently is sort of singed. You see that. Are you wearing anything? No, you're probably not wearing anything made of metal, I'm guessing. But your clothes are smoking a bit. Yeah, clothes are smoking a bit. Hair is getting singed as this thing has come at you to cause a bit of burning. Let us throw the ball to Nevermind as this is going on. What are you doing?
So it would seem that a battle is afoot. I'm going to use Discern Realities.
So let's see. So you want to just sort of examine everything and sort of figure it out? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Go ahead and roll plus wisdom. Sort of Discern Realities should be a thing on your sheet there. Okay, 13. That is very good. So this means you're going to take +1 forward to acting on these answers. So you get 3 of those questions.
Sure. So what is about to happen?
So what is about to happen is that the 5 remaining the 5 remaining imps, 5 remaining fire imps, are going to attempt to capture you and take you to their masters.
The group or me specifically?
The group, it seems like. Not you specifically, necessarily. Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. What should I be on the lookout for?
So there is a way that you can kind of discern as they are moving, the direction of the haze that they're basically made of shifts just before they're about to make a move, and you think you can use that to predict which way they're going to bolt.
Okay. And lastly, what here in the environment is useful or valuable to me?
So, trying to think in terms of what we have in available terrain. There actually are a couple of boulders nearby, the rocks and what have you, that could put a bit of a barrier between you, you know that if you find a way to, and there are a few places, probably where the floor of this valley is pretty solid, but you think there are some patches. You notice some patches that are looser. So, those being the case, what I'm trying to get at is if you can get them to sort of fall in or under, or you trap them, and sort of in an area with less oxygen, then they're going to snuff out. So, like for example, like they can't pass through the rocky areas. So like I said, it's like some of the larger boulders or sort of more bigger rocks. So if one of those were to get on top of them, and those are movable. Again, if any of them were to be sort of suffocated under some of the sand, that's a possibility. If you find a way of moving the sand onto them. So yeah, there are ways to limit their movement that you see here in the terrain. Especially also if they run anywhere where they're going to run out of fuel. That I think is the primary thing. So you see kind of the direction in which what they've been burning is almost completely burned up. There's like a part of the circle that's weaker than the rest. So that as well is usable.
I'm sorry. So did they pop out of some sort of summoning circle, or?
Well, not. Yeah, they didn't. Well, you can't. Not that you can see here, but you think that when they came up out from behind the various, these different, they popped up from these sources of flame. These dry bushes, dry trees, and what have you. So yeah, anything where they're gonna. Anything basically where they're going to lose the ability to spread, that's going to limit them. And you have a number of objects around the terrain where it's going to be harder for them to move, is what I'm essentially trying to get across.
Okay, that's fair.
And so that's what you're going to... And so you'll have that as you're sort of figuring out what to do. As you're figuring out what to do, I'm going to go over to Kestrel. What you doing?
I'm going to try to get outside the circle.
All right. Yep. There's time, and an opening has been made. So
I'm making a break for it.
Are you trying to get away, or are you trying to do something else?
Right. I have a goal once I'm outside the circle, but let's see what happens.
Well, yeah. Go ahead then and divide danger dexterously.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was heading with that. Okay.
We shall see what happens.
Okay.
Oh,
okay,
nice. That is a good roll. So yeah, you basically leap through the gap in the circle nimbly. The gap is bigger for you than for everyone else, so you're good there.
Yeah.
And you can end up near a terrain feature of your choice.
What terrain features may I choose from? Let's see.
Rocks, trees, boulders.
I wouldn't mind being behind something not flammable.
Pits. Yeah. Behind a big rock.
Boulder. Good call. Let's put a rock between me and the fire guys. My plan is later on to see if arrows affect fire imps. I don't know.
Gotcha. Sure. That works.
It's an experiment.
And let's move to Druzy. What is Druzy doing?
I would like to cast Bless on Candlefang. And she seems to be the one doing the most of the fighting at the moment.
All right. So yeah, go ahead and do your cast a spell move, basically. We'll see where that goes.
So wisdom roll then. That's rolling a d6. Or
let's see. It says, if you click on cast a spell, that'll determine the
Oh, yeah.
success.
Here we go. I just have to scroll down.
And then just having these placed in front of the camera. Like, instead of back screen, get a blue screen.
So yeah, you should have on your sheet there under your moves, cast a spell. If you just click on that.
Yep.
Okay, the little black box with the arrow. Just like any changing characters or Pathfinder.
There we go.
All right.
Ooh.
Excellent. And what are the effects of the spell? I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
+1 ongoing, as long as you're fighting. So to your attack.
All right. Excellent. So, and you cast that, you said, on Candlefang?
Yes.
Okay, Candlefang, you have +1 ongoing to these. So I am going to therefore flip back to you because you've just, as the narrative is moving in this direction, so what does this look like when you cast the spell, Druzy? Anything in particular, or do you just sort of like, hey, how's it going? And that's it? Or how does it go? What's it look like?
I sort of I take my mace and my the holy symbol and I chime them and then gesture towards the Candlefang. Say, "May I bless you."
Awesome.
How does it feel? Does it feel like I'm lighter or
You feel like a surge of strength and courage.
Excellent.
So yeah, thanks for the boon, Druzy. And I want to cast my burning brand.
All right.
Summon a weapon out of flames.
So we are fighting fire with fire.
Exactly.
Quite literally.
Yep.
So go ahead and do that. What is? Tell us what you're doing, what you're starting to do, and then hit it.
So yeah. Once again, from the gem on my chest, like I pull out a flame and start breathing into it as it starts to form into a weapon. And let me roll that.
Okay. So
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
I want it to be hand reach.
Okay.
So yeah, I blow into my hand and sculpt a knife out of flames. Just a small God, I forgot the word. One-edged knife, kind of looks like a small scimitar.
Okay. Yeah. I know what you're sort of cookery-like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and it's a sort of little hand knife of flame, and I see it has 3 uses.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah,
So you
3.
breathe that into existence. You're doing that, and it's forming in your hand. Let's toss things. Actually, I'm gonna ask who do you want to throw the next initiative to?
Honestly, whoever. I was about to ask if I could just go jump into an attack, but it's a little bit of hugging.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, so you're
We
doing.
can go in the same
we can go
order.
in the same order. That's fine.
Let's go for Rorik.
All right, Rorik, what are you doing? Well, I will tell you. Aja does report back. First off, as this is going on, and what you get the sense, and these are more images that you get in your head. It's not really words per se, because I assume that there's some sort of communication going on. But through the cries and impressions, you get that just sort of down beyond the off to the side of the valley, that there is a yes, there are a couple of Ifrit approaching. They're not going to. It's probably, you might be able to get away from these folks and up to the town before they get there. But if it takes too long, they're gonna arrive. So they are. Those will be greater threats should you not deal with this quickly. What are you doing?
Rorik will be aiding Candlebag deal with the threats currently in front of him. While slowly backing up.
Okay, help or hinder someone you have a bond with, and well, let's see. Okay, so here's how I'm gonna flavor that. Here's how we're gonna do that. What are you trying to do to help to aid him?
Give him some more fuel to burn. So firing an arrow or two over his shoulder.
So I'm sorry, I heard almost all of that. What fuel are you giving him over his shoulder?
An arrow or two.
An arrow or two? Is this a sort of okay? I'm gonna go ahead then. Since you did that, I'm gonna go ahead and ask Candlefang to go ahead and roll an attack. But something else will happen afterward, regardless of the success or failure of the attack. That involves these arrows. So yes, this is yeah. I think this, unless you have a special move for it, I think this would be what, hack and slash probably.
Yeah, it's just well, I should have added it to the moves. Plus strength. Okay. Roll 2d6. Oh, I can use int when attacking with my burning brand.
Oh, okay, yeah. Cool, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got a total of 8
Moderate success.
on hack and slash.
Yeah.
So
Let's roll a d8 plus 1. Roll a d8 plus 1. Oh, that's
Okay.
pretty.
Let me see. Imps. I need to just sort of. Okay, let me pop this window out so that I can actually see the imps. There we go. All right. So you managed to take a decent chunk out of one of these things as it hurls forward. As it does so, though, and you notice one of them getting blown back. A second one reaches up and grabs one of the arrows that Rorik was throwing in to sort of help you with your kindling, and absorbs it and gets a little bit bigger. So there are now there's still 5 of them. One of them is wounded. 3 of them are normal and normal sized, and one of them is a little bit bigger. Let us move on to Nevermind.
So, given the information that he has sort of discerned, he starts strumming a melancholy song on his mandolin. And it picks up the pace. It goes into a full-blown performance where he starts riffing a really, really sick solo as he's sort of dancing across the valley stage. And he's going to try to make his way over to one of the boulders that looks like it's within his power to move or shift in some manner. And he's going to try to give it a kick in a direction to roll it over some of the burning bushes.
Awesome. I like that. So let's see. Do you have anything special or bardic you want to use as far as this goes, as far as moves go? Or shall we just... let's see.
So arcane art doesn't really fold into any of that because it looks like it's a strict.
I'm gonna give you a +1 on defying danger using charisma.
Okay. And so as he's doing this, he is going to start singing the chorus, "Purple Flame, Purple Flame." And I don't know if that's actually rolled, or do I have to do something?
You click on the move, which you should be able to choose.
It'll bring up a dialog box where you can choose one of the stats.
Yeah, so you should just click Defy Danger, and that'll up above where it turns blue there. Excellent. There you go. So yes, so just as this one imp starts to grow and get bigger, this boulder comes tumbling down on top of it, and it's like, and now there are only 4 imps.
It gets bigger.
Excellent.
It's crushed.
Kestrel, what are you doing? Speaking of people behind boulders.
Just goes to show you, if you stand out, you get shut down. Which is why I'm hiding behind this boulder and shooting arrows at one of the other ones. So there's one that's. Is there one that's been getting smaller?
Yes, there was one that Candlefang just took a hunk out of.
Okay, I'm gonna put a couple arrows into that one, or let's make the attempt.
All right.
So just volley on that one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get in there.
Unless you want to do a cold shot.
Ooh.
And that's +2 damage because I am a halfling.
Excellent. Roll your damage.
Okay, so damage. Oh, look at that damage. Oh, hang on. I can do this thing. Just a moment. 8.
Ah, excellent. You were aiming at the one that was that had been hit, right?
Yeah, the one that Candlefang already messed up.
You managed to hit it at just the right point where the waves of heat disperse. You catch it just as they're heading up, as they're going in the right, that right direction. There, and that one too vanishes. And then there were 3. Drizzy, what are you doing?
I will. How many of the imps are left?
3.
3? I will go and attack one of those.
All right, and what you said you had a mace, was it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yeah.
Sorry.
So you get to make your choice there. You're gonna avoid their attack, or you can do an extra d6 and expose yourself to their attack.
I will go ahead and try to deal the extra damage.
All right. So your damage plus a d6.
Every time I hear these
Ooh.
long pauses, I just start hearing
Right.
that one theme song from. Damn it. Can't place the game show.
So, what does this look like as you are raising, as you bring forth your mace, and you entirely disperse this one?
I feel like I just like take it and I like kick a bunch of like shovel a bunch of sand over it and just pound it into the sand.
Awesome. So it's like disperses as you get it down there. And then there were two. Candlefang, what's up?
I want to attack another one of the goblins, fire boys.
Alrighty. There are a couple of them left. One they're sort of on either side of the party, so they're trying to make a circle of fire by themselves, not doing a great job.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to the one that's closer to me.
Excellent.
All right,
So you're
and
heading
I am gonna jump at him and slash him with my flame. Concrete. Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's good.
I want to add 1d6 of damage.
Do it.
Okay, perfect. D8. Oh, come on.
Well, and then you get a d6.
Oh god, I forgot.
You can do at least 7 damage.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's the dream. Hey, there you go, 7 damage.
By sheer coincidence, that was exactly the amount of damage you needed to do. So, yeah, what does this look like as you are destroying this one that you leap at?
Yeah, after seeing how the other one got 2 arrows shot into him, he looks at another one and he yells, "That's right, I'll consume your flame," and jumps and slashes the other one mercilessly.
So you actually leap forward, and I kind of am imagining you suck it into your blade.
Yeah.
This is like, and there's just one left. Rorik, what are you doing?
Well, seeing how his arrow has
Like trying
fed
to
one of them, he's abandoning that route and drawing his short sword and heading towards the other one.
All right. It's hack and slash for me. Okay. So you leap forward. The thing does a somersault in the air and comes down on you. And I must now once again ask you to roll a, I believe it's a d6 for me. Yep, roll a d6, please. 2. You take 2 damage minus armor. So this thing is still, it's kind of clung onto your back and is like, and is singeing, and you see that some of Rorik's clothes are starting to catch fire a little bit. Never mind, you see this. What are you doing?
You see smoke billowing from his hood.
So I am going to continue my performance, but channel it into an arcane art.
Excellent.
Yeah, so he's going to start shredding his solo, but he's going to do it as right next to Kestrel. Basically the same way that in a rock band or a rock performance, the lead guitarist would sort of just writhe and jam with the lead singer. And so he's going to continue to shred the guitar and basically do it in order to increase his damage for a potential attack.
Ah, okay. Excellent. So which ally are you doing this for again?
Kestrel.
Okay, gotcha. Go ahead and do your arcane art, sir. 9, okay. So, yeah, you gotta pick one of those things. Either you draw unwanted attention or your magic reverberates to other targets. Like, so it says GM's choice. Oh, okay. Well, I assume that the choice is for other targets. I remember the last time I got something like this. So yeah, let me ask you, would you rather draw unwanted attention or would you rather it reverberate?
I'm pretty sure that Nevermind is going to really draw attention given the fact that he's lost in his solo.
Excellent. And so this is you're conferring, what is it called? The +1 forward, 1d4 forward to damage, or?
Yes.
All right. So as you're sort of doing this, what is it? What do we see happen? Do we see anything happen to Kestrel as this happens, or is it just sort of inspired? What does it look like?
For me or for Kestrel?
Well, for you, what does it look like for you?
So, so he's sort of just riffing, and his voice has reached a falsetto as he's doing it. And occasionally marked with "yow" and screams. Maybe he's actually fallen back onto the ground and sort of his shoulders on the ground, and he's jamming out, and his knees are pointing straight up, and he's just going all out, trying to pour all of the energy into this song and inspire the halfling into making the shot of a lifetime.
Kestrel, you're feeling very inspired right now.
And I get the sense that Kestrel's vision shifts, and all he can see is that final imp, like a target.
That is currently trying to set the elf on fire.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's see if I can make that not happen, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I suppose I could have healed the elf, but I don't think it would have taken the imp off his back.
No, probably wouldn't.
No.
And I missed.
Ooh, okay. Well, this is interesting. So, let's see.
Grows bigger.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually not a bad miss.
So-
I hit it wrong somehow.
Well, yeah,
and it
you
absorbed
basically-
the arrow. Yeah.
As you aim this thing, and you feel this inspirational wave coming out as you're doing it, carrying the arrow, the imp just sort of seems to, there's a sort of a face appearing on its back where it shouldn't appear. But these are sort of very, very adaptable creatures, and it's there's a little sort of fiery wave of a tongue that lashes forward and snatches it out of the air.
Gotcha.
And you hear it as it grows a bit bigger, and it seems to be singing along with Nevermind.
No!
As it flips once more off of its back and charges you. Off of Rourke's back.
On my back.
Yeah, no longer on your back. Kestrel got its attention.
I distracted it. You're
That's
welcome.
fair. It is coming toward you. You are behind a rock, so it's not going to be able to get at you immediately. But
Okay.
So Druzy, you see this happen. This larger imp is now is now bolting toward Kestrel. What are you doing?
How are you feeling, Rorik? Pretty hurt?
I am hurt!
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and heal my friend.
Rorik is kind of a little on fire right now, so it might be helpful to...
I'm not on fire, I am smoldering. Difference.
And not in the good way.
Not in the good way, no.
Alright.
Yes.
So do I just click the spell for that?
You're casting heal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Your
it's
light
just
wound.
cast a spell. Yeah, it's always just click cast a spell, and
Okay.
that's your universal thing for spell casting. Any of your spells.
Get on the right tab here. There we go.
All right, excellent.
Yay.
So yeah, and is it a now does does that spell have a die that has to be rolled?
Yes, it is a D8.
All right, go ahead and roll a d8 then. Okay. Rorik, you get back 3.
Yay! I just doubled my current health.
Yay.
Awesome.
Better than nothing.
And as this is happening, Candlefang, you see this happening. See this large imp bolting for Kestrel. What are you doing?
Yeah, I want to. Can I absorb? Can I make him with Zuko style absorb his flame, control it so that I can disperse it and effectively kill it?
You can certainly try to do that.
All right, that's what I want to do. Don't fail me. Hey, there you
14. All right. So, yeah, tell me what this looks like as you reach forth to grab and suck in this thing's flame.
Yeah. Once again, he tries to he sets his ankles at the shoulder length, bends his knees a little, and extends his arm in which he's holding the knife, and it forms into a delicate thread of fire crackling that once it touches the imp, almost lightning fast, just returns to my hand and goes through my arm, and it gets absorbed by the stone.
Awesome. Excellent. And thus, the final imp is slain. As, however, Rorik has already been made aware of, you've just...
And didn't tell anybody.
and hasn't told anyone yet. You do hear this sort of... and you see far behind you, on the edge of the valley, these 2 large sort of beacons of flame that seem to be descending into the valley. As though perhaps hunting you. But they're still very far away, so you can get away. You can get to the town if you wish. And you know that they probably will not be able to make it up out of the valley, except, back around. So they can't approach the town directly. There are things in place.
Do we see the pillars from where we stand?
Oh, you do.
Upon seeing them, Kennelfang kind of just like stretches his neck, goes like, "Well, I could use a little more fire. How about you?"
I mean, if you're gonna go fight those guys, I'll help you out. But if we're voting, I vote for less fire.
So you see, Nevermind finish his song and stand up nonchalantly, and in stark contrast to his very animated performance, you'll see he has a dead expression on his face, and he'll say, "I vote for a tactical retreat in order to comport ourselves in a manner befitting of smarter adventurers.
What say you, Drusy? Rorik? Would you like to go fight some more, or?
Well, seeing as we've been seeing other pillars of flame around our party, I believe we should actually fight these ones. Or give them what they want.
They'll protect my party wherever they go.
So you have 2 for, 2 against, and 1 abstention.
Perhaps it is best not to lead the fire to the town.
Unfortunately, I can't argue with that.
It's not certain that they will attack the town, but they might. There are sort of bulwarks in place, but yeah, they could. It is a potential threat.
I
They
don't like
could
that
test the war.
Yeah.
So, are you heading to face down these Efreet?
Apparently.
Let's at least use our environment to our advantage. And ensure that they don't have enough fuel to
Oh yeah.
torch us
Very well.
in a remarkable fashion.
Yeah, when you say that, Candlefang's eyes just light up, and he shoots flames towards every flammable thing around. Very well, then.
Out of the way. It's like,
So as
hey,
you stand
light me
there-
on fire.
It's like, I'm
Yeah,
on
and
it.
I just stand there, like, with the flames around me, waiting, looking at the pillars of fire and waiting.
So you stand there,
Okay.
finishing the job that the imp started, burning down every single bit of fuel in this part of the valley. 2 massive pillars of fire, Efreet, diving down on you from the edge of the valley.
I hope I don't get the party killed.
And
I also hope that.
that is where we're going to pause for the week.
Gotcha. Good stopping point, unfortunately.
Die!
Gotta
So-
love cliffhangers.
So, we have come to the end of our first session, and let us go round and do our outroductions, as one might call them. Thanks very much. That was very amusing for me, at the very least. That was fun. I enjoy imps of all kinds.
Are we
Almost
gonna,
lit an elf on fire.
are we gonna do end of session stuff before?
Yes, we are. Thank you for reminding me of
Yeah.
that, because that is what we must do next. End of session moves. Let me see if I have them on this handout, and if not, I'm gonna open the book here.
It should be on the play sheets link you sent.
Yeah, end of session. Here we go. When you reach the end of a session, choose one of your bonds. I can't read. That you feel is resolved completely. Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to go around and ask each of you if you think. Well, do any of you feel as though any of your bonds have been resolved? Have you done the thing that's part of that bond, and has that caused your relationship to change? Has anyone had time to do that, do you think?
Would Kestrel think that our relationship regards knowing my true strength has been fulfilled?
Oh, actually, you know what? I think so, because these are the things that hurt me, and you were instrumental in like you sucked one of them into your self. So yeah, I think so.
Okay, and Kestrel, that's your bond?
That's
mine.
That's
Your
Candlefang's
bond? Candlefang's bond? Okay.
Yeah,
yep.
So
Yeah.
you
The
get
bond I have with Candlefang has not been resolved,
Okay.
and the one I have with Druzy has decidedly not been resolved.
So Candlefang, you get an XP.
Yeah.
One thing that I've been forgetting to call out for those of you who rolled 6s or less during this whole time, you should be getting an XP, marking XP every time that happens.
Mark XP for each one. Okay.
For each time you
right.
fail. Failure yields XP. Thankfully, I still have Roll20 up in front of me, so after we're done, I'll go through and we'll make sure that everyone's got what they deserve. So any other bonds that you have that you think have been resolved?
Not on my end.
Anyone else?
Oh, I think Kestrel has learned respect for nature.
I'll take it.
Well, at this point, at least you observed it. Yeah. So I'm with you on that.
All right. Yeah. So you get. Yeah. So Rorik, go ahead and mark XP.
I'm just scrolling through.
Anyone
Seeing
else?
how many 6s I have.
Anyone else has a bond, a single bond that they think that they've resolved?
Not yet.
Okay, so if not, if you just resolved a bond, then you're going to want to write a new bond. You don't have to do it immediately, but you're going to want to think about it. By and large, the sort of format I like to think about is, I have noticed this thing about X character. I will do Y because of that.
I like that.
That kind of thing. So once bonds have been updated, look at your alignment. If you fulfilled that alignment at least once this session, mark XP. So did anyone do a thing that fulfills their alignment?
Not this time.
In a roundabout way, I did help an animal. I got my animal companion out of the way.
Let me look at how that's.
But I mean, you exposed them to danger in the first.
Kind of sent them to scout. I think that, I don't think that quite qualifies, but it's close. It's very close.
That's why I said in a roundabout way.
Anyone else think that they that they hit their alignment?
Does diffuse a tense situation? Does rolling a boulder over an imp count as diffusing a tense situation?
I mean,
technically, I avoided a conflict in that regard.
That's fair. You know what? I'll give it to you for avoiding a conflict because you did stay out of the thick of things.
Actually, yeah.
Delightful.
Would basically pushing the party to keep on an engagement be considered as spreading a dangerous new idea? I'm a little iffy on it.
No, I'll take it because this is part of your character's core philosophy. So, if you think that your character's core philosophy was involved here, then a dangerous new idea. But do you think
I don't know. I think that the intent of it being written is like, oh, you went and spread communism in the kingdom or something like that, right? That's the way I interpret it, but it can work either way.
Teaching us the dangers of the flame.
I think that it has to do with like policy versus Ifrit, right? So I mean, I can see it working that way because you did kind of sway them onto your side. I think only because of that, I'd go ahead and award the XP for that.
Nice.
I think that was fulfilling it, yeah. Are we done looking at our alignments?
I didn't really put myself in danger to do the healing. I did previously put myself in danger to do the stronger attack and then heal somebody, but
That heal was very much appreciated. I was down to 3 HP.
You were doing that with an eye toward trying to get, if I remember right, you were trying to, that was like were you defending someone?
Mm,
Or were you were just attacking a regular, I forget which imp you were attacking.
I don't remember, but I was probably with an eye toward defending Rorik, since he's the one I seem to trust the most.
I think that I think your end was to try to get over there, so I can go ahead and do that. Yeah, sure. This is a short campaign. I'm easy.
Sure.
All right. Is that everybody? I think that's everybody. So then we answer 3 questions as a group. Did we learn something new and important about the world?
Does creating? I think that it doesn't count this session because we basically learned
we just built the
everything
world.
about the world. Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't piss off the firebender.
Yeah, in character, I don't think there was a lot that came out yet. Did we overcome a notable monster or enemy?
Not really. I think that might be next session.
Not yet.
Yeah, I think those are coming. But I wouldn't call these guys notable.
I mean, I beat one by pushing a rock over it. So.
That's fair. Okay, that is fair. All right. Did we loot a
2 of
memorable
us spent
treasure?
2 to make them bigger.
Okay. The last question
So
is
that my deck got crushed.
the last question is, did we loot a memorable treasure? I don't think that happened
Yeah.
unless
Alas,
I was
no.
Not yet.
Unless that amethyst brooch counts.
Yeah, I know. That was
Unfortunately, he's asking the group.
Yes, unfortunately. All right, so that takes care of the end of session. And in the afterward, again, we'll look back through to see what, because I did forget to mention it about taking XP for failures. Anytime you fail, you get XP in this system. But there we are. That is our first session. We're going to go around and ask folks to say, how they're doing, what they thought of the session, anything else they want to, any final thoughts, anything else they want to get across, and where folks can find you online. I'm going to go, again, reverse from the way we started. So we will start with Dragun.
Hi, everybody. After an hour or a couple of hours of talking, hi. I'm Son of a Dragon. You can find me at Twitter and Twitch at Son of a Dragon. I stream Mondays and Tuesdays as of right now. And I am starting to create custom maps for a game called Wargroove, which was released last month. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of like Advance Wars. I don't know if anyone played that a couple of generations past.
The Game Boy games?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Apparently the story behind that game is that the development team got tired of waiting for a new Advance Wars game, so they made their own.
That's like the best news I've heard all day.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
If you're into Wargroove, I'm starting to make a campaign for that. That's one of the neat things. You can make your own maps and make your own story arcs. It's a wonderful game. I love it, and I've been streaming a bunch of that. Well, quote unquote a bunch. But yeah, that's me. I love Powered by the Apocalypse games. They're great fun, and yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Yay! I am glad you're here. Also, as anyone, you can feel free to put your links and such in the chat if you like. So feel free to do that as we go. And let us move on to Opal.
I am Opal Dragon 98, or if you're following me on Twitter, I am Jade Dragon 97. There is my Twitter link. I'm getting my unfortunately. I'm not a streamer yet. I do not have a streaming rig. Working on fixing that. Because lately I've been playing a lot of D&D games where I'm with streamers like our lovely GM. So I've been wanting to learn how to stream, so I'll be learning that down the road once I get a better computer rig here.
Cool. I highly recommend it.
Oh, I need a source of income.
Yeah, that's fair.
Can't live off the government my life.
One needs these things. Did you have any final thoughts about the session?
For my first time running a Dungeon World campaign, I find it quite enjoyable.
Cool.
Or I should say being part of a Dungeon World campaign, I found it quite enjoyable.
Yeah. Awesome.
I love learning and playing Dungeon World system.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for playing, and we're going to be continuing on, and we'll see how things go. Let us move on to Alyssa.
All right. Alyssa, Origami Shuriken on Discord and Twitter. I really enjoyed this a lot. I loved seeing all the pieces come together with the world building and then diving in. There was comedy, there was drama, and it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun going forward. So I'm excited to see what happens next week. And hopefully we don't die. And I am going to be jumping over to the Super Duper stream on Off the Table with Little Red Dot after this in about 45 minutes.
Yay!
So if anybody's looking for something to watch, come check it out.
I highly recommend everything that happens on Off the Table. They're an excellent channel. I'm only slightly biased because I'm in one of their campaigns, but it is no. Seriously, what they're doing is awesome, and the way they have their role playing set up on it, it's really great. And let us move now to Anino.
Hi, my name is Anino. You can catch me on my channel. It's Anino_gaming. I am a charity streamer. I advocate for thoughtful online gaming. You can find out more about that by visiting aninogaming.com. The next time I will appear on stream will be Sunday at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the Extra Life for Kids channel. I have been a participant of Extra Life for about 3 or 4 years now, and I host a weekly segment called Dinner Stream Theater, in which I play through role-playing games, basically PC RPGs, and talk about more what's going on in the Children's Miracle Network hospitals and such. And that's pretty much it.
Coolness. This is I'm very glad to have you back.
Thank you.
This is going to be very cool. And finally, let's see. Did you have any final thoughts about the session or anything?
I kind of wish that I read and paid more attention to bonds, because I didn't realize that was like a source of XP. But other than that, I really like the focus this system has on storytelling and less on rolling, and that, the fact that I could get away with basically a guitar solo and kicking a boulder as my main attack was, I'm okay with that. So, yeah.
It's one of the wonderful things about anything powered by the apocalypse is that it's all how you flavor it.
Yeah.
And finally, Brian.
Hi, I'm Brian. I'm Veclam on most of the things. Veclam 23 on the other ones. It's Malcav backwards. And let's see. I don't have a stream as such, but I just show up on other people's streams, like some sort of parasite. And thanks a lot.
You're like me on that respect.
Yeah. thanks a lot for letting me hang around. But as got mentioned earlier, I do a podcast with Mark Kinney, formerly of All Games Considered, and I'm throwing that URL into the chat. It is called Armor Goes Clank. We called it that because it has the same initials as All Games Considered, and that let us use the same website. So as far as the game goes, I had a great time. This was really fun. I have played some other Apocalypse Engine games, and I've read Dungeon World several times, but this is the first time I've gotten to play. Cool. So it was awesome, and things are really intuitive, and I thought it moved quickly, and I like the interactions a lot.
Awesome, man, and I'm very glad that we're getting to play together again in this campaign, and oddly enough, in some ways, by way of one of the things that we played together previously, because you were in the Wicked Age, so it's just interesting to see the things sort of come together.
It is, which is collaborative world building is my favorite thing ever. So I'm glad we're doing it here too.
Yay! Me too. Awesome. Well, folks, this has been wonderful. Once again, I am Jim Ryan, and I love doing Dungeon World, so it's always fun for me, and I'm very excited to see where this goes. I thought at first we might not generate enough stuff for 4 weeks, but now we may have more than we need, so I think this is going to be very interesting. You can find me at OtherDoc on Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I've got links down below to my website, Twitter, YouTube channel, and the most recent short story that I've released. On this channel, on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, I do video games. Then also Sunday evening, we are going to have a guest GM. Kelly will be returning to run another Call of Cthulhu one-shot.
Nice.
Sunday is when the one-shots happen, and so that is she's coming in to do that. And this one's going to be at a widespread, low-priced retail outlet that some folks may find passingly familiar. It's called Floor Mart. So I cannot wait to see what terrible sanity-destroying things happen there. On Tuesday, Tuesday nights, as I intimated earlier, I'm going to be over on Off the Table. That's off_the table, playing in their Urban Shadows campaign. They actually we're doing 2 campaigns concurrently. They're both on Tuesday night. I'm in the second of the 2. And it is a lot of fun. I did kind of a heel turn last time, where my character was previously a very good person, is now much less of a good person. So we're going to have to see how that goes, and kind of see what happens from there. And then 1 week from today, we will be back here for my Dungeon World, City of Pillars, as it once again comes up. Sign-ups are still open for... Yes, poor Frank. Sign-ups are still open for Life on Mars. I'm facilitating a couple of games of that last couple of Sundays in the month, so feel free to jump on the sign-up link for that if you so desire. When we hit the outro card, I am going to execute a raid on Tales from the Grim. They are doing their Dragonlance campaign, which it's actually Dragonlance / Ravenloft. They're in the sort of Dragonlance part of Ravenloft, I believe. And it has been utterly delightful. They go so deep into the RP with that. It is terrifying, but also awesome. So I highly recommend folks check that out if you have not done so already. So that is where we will go after we hit the end card. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, folks. Take care, and I will see you all of a sudden. Farewell.